Something that I've always fantasized about is having my own teleporter, so I could basically walk through a doorway and end up anywhere in the world that I want to go. And recently I've been thinking about that. It's got to be possible. Looking at it from a pure consciousness point of view, of course it's possible. It's absolutely possible. We are pure consciousness. We can create anything we can imagine. So I've been imagining how it would be. Everything is frequency. If you can match the frequency of the location that you want to teleport to, then maybe it can be achieved. How would you match that frequency? It's a good question. I remember the movie Stargate, when they switched on the Stargate for the first time, and the shimmering light, or looked like a liquid, almost looked like water in the gate. And I'm thinking, water will hold frequencies. The Japanese scientist who did experiments with ice crystals and was able to create different types of ice crystals with the water, depending on what intention was put into the water. I thought about that. Water is very good at storing information, just like crystal is very good at storing information. So I thought, well, water, maybe our crystals, could be used to amplify the frequencies of a given location or a given intention. I wondered if any of you guys have any ideas about how one would achieve that. Basically, the fundamental part of that would be your consciousness. Could you go somewhere that you hadn't been before? I would think that it would probably be easier to go to somewhere that you've already been before, because you can use your imagination, the power of your imagination, to feel that place, to imagine and feel as if you're already there. If you can amplify that feeling, that energy somehow, then I don't see why it's not possible to teleport one's physicality to another location. It's been done many times in the astral form or in the pure consciousness form, but this body is part of the consciousness that is, well, everything around us is consciousness. It comes from us. So that opens up so many possibilities that there's no reason why we cannot hone our consciousness ability, our creative energy, intent, and belief system, because this whole world is a manifestation governed by our beliefs. Thinking out loud here, but if you believe it strongly enough and you put enough energy and attention towards it, you will transform the world around you into such a way that it becomes possible for you to do that. Maybe you personally do not discover that, but you become aware of some group or some individual that finds a way to do it. They are an aspect of the greater consciousness. They are a projection of your consciousness, well, the ultimate consciousness, which is the oneness of all, which embodies us all simultaneously. Did you ever think about something, maybe some kind of a futuristic idea, as a thought that comes to you? It's just a thing like, oh, I wonder how it would be like if we could do this. And then maybe when you're not thinking about it later on that day or the next day or a few days later, you hear about somebody has achieved this, that they just had a breakthrough in some technology or some technique or some knowledge about something in the world that you've been pondering upon. And then you think, oh, that's such a coincidence. I was just thinking about that. I'd never thought that anyone would think about something like that. But somewhere in the external world, you all of a sudden hear about someone achieving an outcome similar to what you thought about, or did some technology was developed to achieve some goal. This is just evidence to show that the external world is a reflection of what's going on within. This whole external experience is a mirror. You are the center in a hall of mirrors, and this whole experience is you pushed out. But we already know that, right? I mean, my whole belief system is based around that understanding. So if you're here watching these videos, then you probably have come to a similar conclusion about your experience. Anything is possible. If you want to fly like Neo in the Matrix or Superman, maybe you can. Maybe the only thing that's stopping you is your belief system, your limitations. Just like Neo had to learn in the Matrix. The Matrix movie is about you. Just like the Bible is about you. It's about your journey. It's your journey of self-discovery. All the great stories are actually about the same character realizing that the self that you thought you were doesn't exist. There is a greater consciousness that is almost isn't a self. It's just pure creativity. It's pure creation. It's infinite possibility. But you are an aspect of that that's been refined down so that you can create experiences that the higher heads of consciousness can expand outwards continuously and grow more and learn more. The greater, the higher you, the higher consciousness, the God, or it's learning through you. You're like the hands of God, like the little you I'm talking about, but the consciousness, this behind your egoic awareness, the here and now in this world and having to survive in this physical world. Behind that, and behind that again, and infinitely, potentially, behind that are multiple layers of consciousness, and it's filtering through experience, creativity, energy. It's constantly evolving, growing. It's all about expanding that creativity. That's what your life is about ultimately, is to create, to expand. Basically, you are God. You are the creator of this whole thing, this whole experience. But it's not the little you, it's not the learned behaviorisms that you've learned as your character grew up in this world, in whatever place and whatever time and experiences you had and whatever job you have, whatever peers. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about behind that, before you were born, that you that's always there in the background, the silent observer. Although not so silent when you can turn down the volume on the ego, and you got a handle on the fear, the negative mindsets and the emotions, and you can kind of push them to the side and sit in that stillness. You start to realize that there's a part of you, a very peaceful part of you in the background. It's always there. A beautiful sunset. Let's switch you around here. We got a beautiful sunset ahead of us here. If you ever heard about remote viewing, I'm pretty sure most of you have, or out-of-body experience, near-death experience, basically where consciousness is removed from the physical body. If the consciousness can move out of the body, even for brief periods of time, then one would argue that it's only the next step, or next few steps to be able to completely move the body to another location without physical action, without walking or taking some other mode of transportation. Some scientists in laboratories have managed to teleport particles from one laboratory to another. So in the real world it has been done on microscopic scale. So it's definitely been done, and the likelihood that it's been achieved on a much greater scale, for example teleporting a human being from one location to another, the technology probably exists. People have probably done it in a pure consciousness way without any technology in the modern sense of the word. I believe that the technology exists within our consciousness. The potential is there. And if you believe that it's possible, you'll probably find out in your life that it is possible, some way. I never get sick. Never. I don't allow it. I don't believe in sickness. I really don't believe it. It's not part of my experience anymore. I experienced sickness in the past. Another earlier self experienced the feeling of sickness, but not anymore. One day I decided that's not going to be part of my experience anymore. I don't believe it, because I learned through reading many books and watching many YouTube videos over the years that I don't really need to have certain experiences in my life that I don't want. And I started to believe that actually we are creators, and we create our own experience. We manifest everything in our lives. So I decided to not manifest sickness anymore, because I simply don't believe it into existence anymore. It is a frequency, it's a belief. You allow it through your belief. Your beliefs are limitations, boundaries for your experience. I don't talk about political beliefs, ideologies. I'm talking about belief in the core of you. The core of your consciousness is an energy, it's a feeling, an absolute feeling and conviction, absolute conviction. As solid a conviction as seeing a rock As real as the existence of that rock, you have to absolutely, without conviction, in your core, to know it and feel it. I have not been sick in many years, so I don't worry about catching a bug, catching a virus or any kind of sickness, because sickness comes from within. If you experience discomfort, sickness, it's through your own conscious beliefs that you allow it, that you manifested it. Through whatever stress, anxiety, fear that you have in this experience, you've manifested that. You've allowed it. So you change what you believe, you change your experience. But it doesn't happen overnight. It's something that you have to invest in and invest in. Continue to build it like it's a workout routine. And your reality does change. But you have to keep on top of it. You have to keep it in check, because you don't want to get to a certain level and then allow yourself to come back to the old habits, the old beliefs, to allow the external play to suck you back in, because there is a delay. The external world is a delayed reflection of your manifestation. So the energy that you are now is not going to be exactly reflected in the external world. Yes, some parts of it, some more malleable parts of your experience will be reflected almost instantaneously. But on the broader scale, things don't change that quickly. You have to work on it. You have to build upon it. You have to have repetition in your focus about what it is that you are manifesting. And if you don't see results straight away, don't allow the negativity, the negative thinking, oh, this isn't going to work, oh, no, you have to stick with it, you have to go with it. Neville Goddard says you have to continue to believe in the outcome that you wish. I'm paraphrasing here, despite appearances. So you have to imagine as if it's already come about, despite outward appearances, because there is a delay in the external world. It's created from within, in your consciousness field, and it expands out, but there is a time delay for that to be shown and manifest in the reflected world around you. But it comes from within you, it comes from your core, it's your core beliefs.